So here's part 2 of breaking out of diet confusion hell. All right, so then we were discussing the low-fat thing and how nowadays it's become very in vogue from the low-carb world to talk about how we completely failed on low-fat and high-carb. So we know that doesn't work. Let's move on to the next thing. And I, basically debunked a lot of that in the last video, okay, and tried to show that we didn't even come close to following those guidelines. And the people that did got results. And if that wants to be questioned, then people can look at nations and societies where people eat that way, about 80-10-10 more or less, and they're lean and healthy. Okay, so now another thing that I see floating around there then is that you'll definitely lose much more weight with eating the low carb way of eating. Okay, low carb, high fat, high protein. Okay, so let's look at that just a little bit. And what I will say is that yes, you will lose weight on a low carb diet. There's no question that you will. And actually in the beginning you can see like a fast drop. I mean, I had even tried that years ago, and my weight dropped, and I actually even went ahead and recommended it to some people and saw their weight drop. So what happens initially is that you drop weight, but you're dropping a lot of it is water weight. Okay, and yes, some fat is going along with it. It's not all water, but it's in the beginning, the dramatic results you see, a good percentage of it is water, okay? And, we won't even get into the science of analyzing what happens to the body when you go into what they call a ketosis state. And just, so many scientists and doctors and nutritionists have really had a lot of issues with with ketosis and what it does to the body, okay? So we won't even get into all that. We'll just keep it something that's simple and easy to understand. But the idea that with the low carb, that you're going to lose more weight, yes, you will drop weight. That is not a lie, but a lot of it is water. And then if you analyze just the pure percentage of fat, long term, let's say over 3 months, okay, just a pure drop in fat content, it's not really better than if you just did like a low calorie, low fat, high carbohydrate diet. Okay, and besides that, if you look at what's happening to your health with the two diets side by side, you would see that people that do the high carb, low fat diets are just so much healthier. Okay, and if you want to question that, so where am I getting my evidence from, these facts from? Again, those same societies that I mentioned, like those Asian countries where even things like cancer were very low. The people are lean. Heart disease was much lower. And we're talking about in the rural parts of these countries. Not all of China, but like rural China. Not all of Japan, but the rural parts of these countries. Okay, because there are people that will say, oh, well, that's not true because I know that in Hong Kong their heart disease is just as bad as in the U.S. Okay, but we're talking about the rural parts of these countries. And where am I getting my information from? Am I just spewing stuff here that I just have a preference for? No, there's tons of evidence. If you want to research some of this yourself, you can read a book called The China Study by a man named Dr. Campbell. Okay, there's a brilliant documentary called Forks and Knives that's out that gets into analyzing this, and you really see it scientifically documented, and you see some case histories there with patients that were on these diets. You can study Dr. McDougall's work. He's one of the best sources that you could find because he's been doing this for many decades. He's gotten phenomenal results. He has an impeccable reputation, very well respected in the medical industry as a man that gives people their health back. Okay, he tries to do everything he can possibly do to keep people away from medication, and he puts them on these diets, these high carbohydrates, low fat diets, and people do well. Heart disease is reversed, diabetes is reversed, weight drops away, and he gets phenomenal results with all this stuff. So Dr. McDougall, great resource. Dr. Dean Ornish and Dr. Esselstyn. Okay, all these people are very well respected doctors in the industry that all get great results. So now, the other thing that I saw floating around there, which was interesting, is this was from Gary Taubes. He's become popular with a book he wrote called Good Calories, Bad Calories, and he's a big proponent of the low carb thing. Now, one of the things he says is that exercise only makes us hungrier, and it doesn't work. That we focus so much on exercise, and that it's a myth that exercise is really going to help us lose weight. Okay, I'm here to tell you that that's absolutely incorrect. Okay, the reality is that the only time you do get a lot hungrier when you exercise is when you do like athletic. If you're an athlete, if you're like a professional basketball player, yeah, sure, you will blow through 5,000-6,000 calories like nothing. Okay, and you do get hungrier, of course. But for the average person that's doing like a 1-hour workout a day, even just like a 1-hour moderate workout a day, it's the opposite. You actually curb your appetite. You actually suppress your appetite because you release hormones and endorphins, and your blood sugar becomes more stabilized. Okay, when you stabilize your blood sugar, you actually curb your appetite. Okay, so it is not true that exercising is just going to make you hungrier and then put you in a cycle to where you're never going to drop the weight. That is a complete myth. So just give it a try, and you'll see that it doesn't add up, especially if you're eating a healthy, low-fat, high-carb diet, because your blood sugar levels will be more stable since you're not flooding your system with excess sugar. Okay, and to begin with, you will already have better blood sugar levels. They should be more stable. So then if you support that with consistent exercise, even if it's just moderate, low intensity exercise, you'll see that your appetite will be less. I mean, most people can easily, without even trying, shave off 200-300 calories a day. Easy. By doing moderate exercise. And you also tend to crave healthier foods after you exercise. So it's don't fall into that trap, because that could really mess you up, because you need the exercise to keep burning calories. You want to think, this week, how can I be like a fat burning machine? Okay, and the exercise revs up the metabolism, burns the fat, and by doing some muscle building, you will certainly accelerate your metabolism by putting on a little more muscle. So definitely don't fall into that trap. Okay, so now hopefully that makes sense about the exercise myth. And the next thing that we can cover is, so what should we do? What exactly should we do, and why should we do this? Okay, so I'm going to leave that for part 3. Part 3 is where I'll try to wrap it up for you guys and hopefully get you out of what I call this diet confusion, nightmare. All right, thanks.